Always a humbling opportunity to stand before you. And my read today will be our brother and colleague, Brother Janez. So we are going to get this started. We're going to actually start in Isaiah chapter 62. But before he gets reading, what I want to do today, because a lot of times we're seeing various things on the news and whatnot that it's kind of troubling. We're seeing all kinds of events and circumstances that's just like, wow, like that's where we are today. And it's causing a lot of people to get shocked and thrown off by it. But if I put in proper context the days that we're living in, then that wouldn't be so shocking. In fact, you'll be looking for some additional events to start happening and transpiring too. So today's lesson is called "The Days Are Evil." It's called "The Days Are Evil," and we're going to pick this up in Isaiah 62 and pick this up at verse 6. So I'm going to give everyone a chance to get there. I'm going to make sure my phone is muted also. So I'm going to get right to it. All right, Isaiah 62 and verse 6. When you get there, brother, go ahead and read.
I have set watchmen upon their walls.
So this is the Lord saying, he said, I set watchmen upon what?
Their walls.
Go ahead.
O Jerusalem.
Oh, Jerusalem, go ahead.
We shall never hold their peace day nor night.
Right, they're never going to hold their peace. As long as there's iniquity and sin going on, they're going to have something to say about it. Go ahead.
Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence.
Keep not silence.
And give him no rest.
And give him no rest. That's not saying no rest in a negative way. In other words, you are constantly on your job, like 24/7, being a watchman. Go ahead.
Till he established, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth.
Until the Lord establishes Jerusalem and makes Jerusalem a praise in the earth. That's what he's talking about, but we know that doesn't happen until the Lord returns, right? So until then, the watchman is supposed to watch, observe, and report whether it's good, bad, or ugly about what's going on until the Lord returns, right?
Right.
All right, that's it in verse 7?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and keep moving. Let's go to Revelation chapter 16. Revelation chapter 16. These are just some setting the foundation scriptures about what a watchman is supposed to do. Because every once in a while, like on some of these social media groups, you'll have someone that's asking, well, why is this individual coming and pointing these things out? I wonder if he was sent to let us know about this. So their GPS is trying to geolocate and say, maybe there's a reason why I'm hearing this particular message at this particular time from this particular individual. And they're trying to, and I'm showing that, yes, the Lord set up watchmen to do these things, right? So we're going to pick up at Revelation 16 and hit verse 15. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Behold, I come as a thief.
Now that's the whole point, because the Lord's coming as a thief to those who have no understanding. So this is a warning to let you know you are going to be caught off guard if you get caught slipping. Behold, I come as a thief. Go ahead.
Blessed is he that watcheth.
Blessed is he that does what?
Watch it.
And that's not just a he, that's a she also. Because a she can say, no, sister, that's actually not right. Or this actually is supposed to be the way we're supposed to go. But that's that he or she, in other words, someone that's keeping a watchful eye for us saying the righteousness. Go ahead.
And keepeth his garment.
And keepeth his garments. What does that mean, keep his garments? This is talking about you bought enough Tide or enough bleach or enough Clorox. This is talking about keeping your righteousness, your acts clean. Keeping your garments white. Go ahead and finish that off.
Lest he walk naked.
Lest he walk what?
Naked.
Walk naked. In other words, you don't have no spiritual protection. You are naked. Go ahead.
And they see his shame.
And they see his shame. So the whole point of a watchman is to make sure that you are continuously clothed in righteousness. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get the lesson started. Let's get one more spot. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 1. And he said Ecclesiastes 1. Then I'll start the actual lesson. Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Right before Songs of Solomon. Because, in various generations, they'll talk about what they have new going on in their generation, but a lot of times it's just a rehashing of what another generation has already done. And the generation before that, and before that. So we're going to show that as long as it's still flesh and blood on the earth, there's going to be a consistency in what they're doing. There's nothing new under the sun. So Ecclesiastes chapter 1, pick this up at verse 9. When you get there, go ahead and read.
The thing that hath been.
The thing that has been, go ahead.
It is that which shall be.
And
that which is,
That which is done.
Done under, that is, oh, my bad. Okay, that's right.
Middle of 9, hit it from the top, hit it from the top.
Okay. The thing that have been, that is that which shall be.
Right.
And that which is done.
Yep.
Is that which shall be done.
Which shall be done. Go ahead.
And that is no new thing under the sun.
There's no new thing under the sun. So if you thought you come up on something new, it's already been done before in a different form or fashion. Go ahead and hit verse 10.
Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Right. Someone may say, behold, look at this, check this new thing out. Go ahead.
It hath been already of old time.
Right.
Which was before us.
Right. Just like when the disciples went to show Jesus the temple, check this out, Matthew 24. He told them that that's going to be destroyed. But that wasn't even the first temple. Because that was the second temple, because the first one was so nice that after Solomon had built that one, the ones who saw the foundation of the second one cried over that because it paled in comparison to the glory to the first tabernacle, the first temple rather. Not the first tabernacle, the first temple. Go ahead.
There is no remembrance of former things. Neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, with those that shall come after.
Right, there's no remembrance, but that's my job today, is to bring to your remembrance some things that was already put in this book. And that's what the Holy Spirit does, according to John chapter 14, verse 26, right? The Holy Spirit going to bring to remembrance his word that he already spoke to us. So we're going to bring about some remembrance. Now let's get the lesson started in Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6. And if I'm going too fast, write these scriptures down and rewatch the lesson and study on your own. Genesis chapter 6. I need to pick up the pace a little bit just because I have a lot of scriptures for y'all to go through, because the Lord showed me something that's very expansive. In order to see the big picture, you need to walk down the groundwork from A to Z. So I really don't want to cut nothing, but we're going to get this started right now. Genesis 6 and verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass, and the men began to multiply in the face of the earth,
right?
And the daughters were born,
right,
to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair.
So the righteous sons of God saw the daughters of men, or in other words, some worldly women, but these are still, as they say, human beings. Go ahead.
And they took them wives of all,
right,
which they chose,
right.
And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with men.
So it's already a problem. He's like, my spirit, or his Holy Spirit is not always going to stay with man, because the men are already digressing to get into themselves in some relationships that should not be, because they are not equally yoked. So he's saying here, my spirit is always going to stay with these men. Go ahead.
For that he also is flesh.
Because he's also is flesh. Or in other words, he also is weak. He's going to get weakened in his temptations. Go ahead.
For his days shall be 120 years.
So right there, we were cut down from the ability to live 999 years to 120. In other words, if I allow this man to stay on this earth for 5, 6, 7, 800, 900 years, and they keep corrupting people, they're going to cause the whole creation to be corrupted. So imagine if you had a lot of the races that we know from the 1800s, and they're still around today. The Lord knows how to, cut that down. But go ahead and pick up at verse 4.
For there were giants in the earth in those days,
right,
and also after that.
So these were great men of renown in those days. Go ahead.
When the sons of God came unto the daughters of men,
right,
and they shall bear children to them, and the same became mighty men, and they were of old,
right,
men of renown.
Right. Now, verse 4 has nothing to do with verse 3. It talks about the Lord cutting down the age of man in verse 1 through 3, but then it talks about, and in those days there were giants in the earth. It has nothing to do with that connection. So I'm questioning the false doctrine that angels sleep with women, and that is not true doctrine. That's false doctrine. But go ahead and pick it up at verse 5.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
Right.
And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart were only evil continually.
Was only evil continually. So it's nothing new. Back then they didn't have a news channel. We have a news channel today, so we're able to see a whole lot of wickedness going on, right? But he's saying he saw from his vision and saw that the only thing that was in man's mind was wickedness continually. Go ahead.
And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth. And it was grieved him to his heart.
Right, go ahead.
And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. both man and beast,
Uh-huh.
and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air.
Right.
For it repenteth me that I have made them.
Right, so mankind got the animals in trouble, but go ahead.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord.
But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Go ahead.
These are the generations of Noah.
Uh-huh.
Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation.
Uh-huh.
And Noah walked with God.
That's the difference. He found someone that was trying to carry themselves righteously. Go ahead and jump to verse 11.
The earth also was corrupt before God,
Uh-huh.
and the earth was filled with violence.
Isn't the earth still filled with violence today? So just about a week or a little bit less than a week ago, we heard about a young lady who was almost at the full point of delivery, who was kidnapped, strangled, and they cut her womb open to take the baby and then claim that baby as their own. Isn't that wickedness? Is that violence? But then that's that instance. But then you have where the law of the land, where they're trying to say, well, we're going to outlaw abortion in certain areas of the country. Now, you had upheaval about everyone saying how wicked that is. But hold up, how are you going to say that the woman that was just abducted and had her womb cut open, to take the child, that's okay? But this other thing, called abortion, preventing abortion, that's wrong? See, this is the thing. We are not our own. It's not our choice or our ability to choose who lives or who dies. That's not our choice, because the fruit of the womb is the Lord's. We're going to walk into this, but hey, the days are evil. So that's what we're walking down. Go ahead and hit verse 12.
And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt.
Right.
For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
So they corrupted his way. In order for them to corrupt his way, they had to know what his way was. But they chose to do what? To corrupt his way. Go ahead.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me.
Right.
For the earth is filled with violence.
Through
them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
So I'm going to destroy them with the earth. But let's see how he does it in verse 17. Oh, yeah, jump to verse 17.
And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth.
Right.
To destroy all flesh wherein is the breath of life. From under heaven. Right. And everything that is in the earth shall die.
So everything that is going to die, that he doesn't have a covenant with, but he's going to establish his covenant with Noah. But we aren't here for all that right now. Let's go to Matthew 24. So we're just setting the groundwork of these days. And a lot of times we hear them broken down to us in segments, but the way the Lord brought this lesson to me, I said, well, I need to put it all together and show how today is actually an amalgamation of all those wicked days in the past. Let's pick it up at Matthew 24. And we're going to pick this up at verse 34. Because we're going to show the example that Jesus gave us by, hey, look back at the Old Testament, look back at these scriptures, and call this to mind. The thing is, for us, it's not just to look at one specific location, a specific example. We're supposed to take an entire picture and put it together. So Matthew 24, let's pick this up at verse 34. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Verily, I say unto you,
right?
This generation shall not pass,
right?
Till all these things be fulfilled.
And that's what most of Matthew 24 talks about, a lot of end times prophecy. But he's saying this generation is going to pass until all the stuff comes to pass. Keep going.
Heaven and earth shall pass away,
right?
But all my words shall not pass away.
Right. His word is still going to stand. Go ahead.
But of that day and hour knoweth no man.
Right.
No, not the angels, but of heaven.
Right.
But my Father only.
Right. There's going to be a day when he takes care of the business. Go ahead and hit verse 37.
But as the days of Noah.
Oh, but as the days of Noah. So Jesus quoting the Old Testament, right? Go ahead.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now, what's the significance about the days about today that line up with the days of Noah? You had unbelief. Unbelief in what, Jared? Brother Jared, what's going on today that lines up with those days back then? Well, remember, it had never rained upon the earth until the flood came. So in those days, you mean to tell me that they didn't believe that something's going to come from the sky and kill them? So So if they didn't believe that back then in these days, they don't believe that something's going to come from the sky and take them out the game. These are the days of Noah right now. Go ahead.
Whereas in the days that were before the flood,
right,
they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage.
Now they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, but we understand. But notice what he doesn't show here. He doesn't show a male and a female getting married here, does he? Yeah. He said they were just married and giving in marriage. They were just going through the act, but it wasn't necessarily pointed out as being righteous marriages. Go ahead.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark.
Until the day Noah entered into the ark. Go ahead.
And he knew not until the flood came and took them all away.
So it caught them off guard until it took them out the way. Go ahead.
So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So it's going to be just like that. He's going to catch some people like a thief in the night. Go ahead.
Then shall two be in the field. The one shall be taken, and the other left.
Well, someone's going to get taken, and the other's going to be left. But they start saying, this is the rapture. Oh, see, this one's being pulled off. No. Someone's going to be killed like in the days of Noah, but there's going to be people like Noah, Noah and his sons and his wife and his son's wives, 8 souls that were saved, right? They were left. Go ahead.
2 women shall be grinding at the mill.
See, and they try to say, see, look at this. The Bible permits it because it says 2 women grinding. Those talking about 2 women working. Go ahead.
The one shall be taken, and the other left.
One shall be taken and the other left, because one was being righteous, one was being unrighteous. This is the separation of the wheat and the tares. Go ahead.
Watch therefore, for ye know not.
So Jesus telling us to watch. Also, go ahead.
What hour your Lord doth come.
Right, go ahead.
But know this, that if the good men of the house had known in what watch the thief would come,
right,
he would have watched.
He would have watched, right?
Yeah, and would not have suffered his house to be broken up.
In verse 44.
Therefore, be ye also ready, for in with such an hour as ye think, not the Son of Man coming.
So he knows when to catch you off guard. But let's keep this moving. Let's go back to Genesis. We're going to pick it up Genesis chapter 11. So I just wanted to walk down the first example or case study, the days of Noah, which is very similar to the days of today. Ain't nothing going to come from above and kill us. As they say, ain't no, how they put it, no sky god's going to do anything. They literally call them that. So I'll just shake my head, keep it moving. Shake my head, keep it moving. Let's go to Genesis 11 and pick this up at verse 1. Let's show another set of days. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And the whole earth,
right,
was of one language, and of one speech.
Right, go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, they that found a plain in the land of Shinar,
in the land of Babylon, go ahead.
And they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly.
Right.
And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
So they're focused on building. There's nothing wrong with building, but let's focus on what they were trying to do. The building or the one consent that they had, what they were trying to do, that's what the problem was here, verse 4.
And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower.
A city and a tower, go ahead.
Whose top many reach unto heaven.
Oh, so they're trying to get to where?
Heaven.
They're trying to get to heaven. Go ahead.
Let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole world.
They don't want to be scattered. They want to stay together, and they want to build this tower, and they want to get to where they never even came from. They want to go to heaven. So go ahead and pick it up at verse 6.
And the Lord said, Behold.
Actually, hit verse 5. Hit verse 5. Because I want to show that when it gets so bad, the Lord will check you out. The Lord will come and see what you up to or what your intentions are. He doesn't check out your intentions. Go ahead and pick up at verse 5.
And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower,
right,
which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one.
They're in agreement. Go ahead.
And they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them,
right,
which they have imagined to do. To go down, go to. Let us go down.
Let us go down. Go ahead.
And there confound their language.
Right. He's gonna confound their plans. Go ahead.
And they may not understand one another's speech.
Right, so back then, they didn't have Rosetta Stone. They didn't have translation software. It was very hard for them to get on one consent. But in today's generation, they are able to communicate. They're getting better and better at it too, using machine language or just people who are multilingual. Go ahead.
So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth. And they left off to build a city.
Right. And what was that city called? Hit verse 9.
Therefore is the name of it called Babel. Because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth.
You're right. Because that's what Babel means, confusion. He confounded, he confused the languages. Go ahead.
And from this did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of the earth.
So the Lord intervened on wicked plans, wicked mindsets. Let's back up to Genesis chapter 10 and pick this up at verse 6. Chapter 10 and verse 6. Because they were doing that in Babylon. But let's take a quick look at the original Babylon in Genesis 10 and 6. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mitzrayim,
right,
and Put, and Canaan.
Right. In other words, these were the original African nations. Well, this is where they resided. Remember, they weren't just quote unquote. This is talking about Ham was born in Africa. No, Ham actually resided there after they came off the ark. But Ham, Cush is Ethiopia, Mizraim is Egypt, Phut is Libya, and Canaan is where the Canaanites dwelt. But these are all 4 African nations. Go ahead.
And the sons of Cush.
And the sons of Cush, go ahead.
Seba, and Havilah, Sapta,
yep,
Ramah,
yep,
and Saptekha,
yep,
and the sons of Ramah,
yep,
Sheba, and Dedan.
And Dedan, yep, go ahead.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
Oh, and Cush, or Ethiopia, begot Nimrod. Go ahead.
And he began to be a mighty one in the earth.
So he began to be a notable one or a mighty one in the earth. Go ahead.
And he was a mighty hunter before the Lord.
Right, but this isn't talking about he's hunting flesh. He's not hunting deer and antelope. He's talking about hunting for people. Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said.
Okay. Let me clarify that. I'm not talking about physical hunting people. I'm talking about hunting spiritually. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord.
Right, go ahead.
And the beginning of his kingdom.
And the beginning of his kingdom, go ahead.
Was Babel and Erech. And Akkad and Chaldea and the land of Shinar.
Right, but that's all pointing to Babylon yet again. See, Genesis chapter 10 and 11 are not in chronological order. Genesis chapter 11 happened first. They were all together in one land with one language. But in Genesis chapter 10, it speaks of when they were separated. The sons of Ham is here. The sons of Shem is here. The sons of Japheth is over there in their land and in their tongues or in their languages. So it's not in chronological order, but he's just showing here what happened as far as what started happening in the sons of Ham. They started building Babel or Babylon by way of Nimrod. So Nimrod is actually pointing to a specific religion where it has Nimrod, Tammuz, and Semiramis. And a lot of that is being recaptured in today's society, but I'll walk that down a little bit later. But let's go to John chapter 3 and show the mindsets that these men had what Jesus says about this location where they were trying to go. John chapter 3 and verse 13. Y'all getting something so far? Yeah. Praise God. John chapter 3 and 13. When you get there, I hear 4 more pages. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And no man hath ascended up to heaven.
Right.
But he that cometh down from heaven.
Right. That was a one-hitter quitter. Jesus said, no man has ever ascended up to heaven. But in today's society, everyone thinks that all the past relatives and previous people have already passed on, been judged, and are already in heaven. Jesus said the exact opposite, right? So there's a group of people that want to go to heaven. They're called Babylonians. Well, how do you want to go to heaven unless you're following a Babylonian religion? So what's happening is now, it's not just the days of Noah, it's the days of Babylon. The days are evil. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at Isaiah 14. Because you have to understand why someone would even make that statement or have that desire to go to this location where Jesus said no one's even been there. I can show you in 1 Timothy chapter 6 that no man's even going to go there. Isaiah 14, and when you get there, pick up at verse 12. When you get there, go ahead and read.
how art thou fallen from heaven, O son of Lucifer? O Lucifer.
Oh, Lucifer. This is the only instance where the term Lucifer shows up in the Bible, and it just talks about him being a fallen or a fallen angel from heaven. Go ahead.
Son of the morning.
Right.
How art thou cut down to the ground?
Right. Son of the morning, because he was a son of God, because that's another term for the angels. But he was the son of the morning, and it calls Jesus the bright morning star. So he was the son of heaven. But go ahead.
Which didst weaken the nation.
Right now we die because he weakened the nation from what happened in the Garden of Eden. Hit verse 13.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven.
That's his desire to want to go to heaven. Go ahead.
I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
He wants to get a throne exalted above the stars. In other words, above the firmament. Go ahead.
I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation.
He also will sit in the mount of the congregation. Go ahead.
In the sides of the north.
In the sides of the north. And if we own Homer, Psalm 78 lets you know that that's talking about Jerusalem. So he also wants to sit and rule from Jerusalem. Well, there's an individual that's going to execute that in the flesh. As far as that's on his page and not on God's page. But go ahead and hit verse 14.
I will ascend above the heights of the cloud.
Right.
I will be like the Most High.
So now, tomorrow, everyone just about is talking about going to this location as their great reward. And even if they don't outright say it, you'll have other individuals who worship on Friday nights that say that we are the Muslim religion, say that when they die, or if they perform jihad, they go to a specific location too. But that's the same Babylonian religion. The books is clearing it all up. But let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's go to Revelation 17. Because I need to jump to grab a quick sneak peek of the individual that's going to jump in that slot to try to perform what he wants to do, sit in Jerusalem, or in the congregation in the sides of the north. Revelation 17, and pick this up at verse 1. See, this is a little bit of an information-heavy lesson, where I have to walk down what happened in the past and how to connect to prophecy about what's going to happen in the future. And you'll see it's all one message. Revelation 17, pick up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
So that's one of the titles, the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Go ahead.
And with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. And the inhabitants
So the kings of the earth or the governments support the religious system that this particular great whore or this great church promotes. They are on the same accord. Go ahead.
And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right, so that's why the governments are going to be closed on Sunday. The governments are going to be closed because the kings authorize the decrees, right, over the land. The government's going to be closed on December 25th. The government's going to be closed on Easter Sunday. But when it comes to unleavened bread, aren't they open? They call you to come into work. On the Passover, aren't they open? They ask you, well, where you at? On Tabernacles, well, not on Pentecost, because Pentecost is on Sunday, so they act like they celebrate Pentecost too, but they're not really. I'm just showing how the governments are in line with this false religious system, because these days are already here. Go ahead.
So he carried me away in the spirit.
Actually, jump down to verse 4.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet.
Arrayed in purple and scarlet, which is like a purple and a red color. So purple is the color of the bishops, and cardinal is red is the color of the cardinals. So it's talking about their leadership of the religious system. Go ahead.
And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Right, it's all about opulence. All this appealing of beauty and gold and all this pleasing of the eye. Go ahead.
Having a gold cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Now, what church holds the mass? It's letting you know right here with that golden cup. But then they turn around and tell you from a kid about the Holy Grail. Where can I find the Holy Grail in the Bible? Go ahead.
Where?
And then they turn around and say, well, that Holy Grail was a holy bloodline because he had children. Jesus didn't have no children. But I'm just showing the levels to this. Go ahead.
And upon her forehead was a name written. Mystery Babylon.
Mystery Babylon. It's a mystery for those that's not dealing with the book. But it's still Babylon, the Babylonian religion. But it's Mystery Babylon the Great now. They're not just located in Shinar, which was called Babylon. It is now worldwide. She's walking upon the, many wars, among many people, among many governments. Or that's what the kings is talking about, the kings of the earth. Go ahead.
The mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
The mother of harlots, or in other words, the mother of all the other daughter denominations that came out from this church. Go ahead.
And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
Actually, no, we're done at verse 5. I want to jump. Let's go to Genesis 13. Because I have to show that there is a belief system which ties right back to Babylon. There is also a group of people that have a lack of belief about what's really going to transpire, just like in the days of Noah. Well, let's take a look at another set of days, because the days are evil. Genesis chapter 13. Genesis chapter 13, and we're gonna skip around a little bit. We're gonna pick this up at verse 4. Genesis 13 and verse 4. And when you get there, go ahead and read.
Unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord.
Right, go ahead.
And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents.
Right.
And the land was not able to bear them.
Right, because they had so much possessions between Abraham and Lot. Go ahead.
That they might dwell together.
That they could not dwell together. Go ahead.
For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together.
Right, go ahead.
And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle,
right,
and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
Right.
And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelled in the land.
Go ahead.
And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren.
Now that's wise. You know, it's good to stay together with, people, but if there's some kind of strife caused from the situation, there's nothing wrong with just going separate ways. Food for thought. That there be no strife. Look, there's plenty of land over here, there's plenty of land over there. We can just go reside in separate lands so that there's no strife. Go ahead, it's all about keeping the peace. Hit verse 9.
Is not the whole world, the whole land before thee?
Right.
Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right.
He even said, you got first dibs. You pick one side, I'll get the other. You pick that, I'll go. If you pick right, I'll go left. You pick left, I'll go right. Go ahead.
That's and right. If thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left.
Right.
And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as they cometh to Zoar.
Let's go ahead and jump down to verse. Let's go to Genesis 19 now. Pick up verse 1. So I have to show how they ended up in that land, because just because you're in a land of wickedness doesn't mean that the Lord can't deliver you. Just because you're in a wicked predicament doesn't mean that the Lord can't deliver you. Just because you're in a circumstance where wicked people are around you doesn't mean that the Lord can't deliver you. But that's what Abraham had to learn when he was trying to, I don't say quiz God, but negotiate with God to get that number down to 10. He started from 50, talking all the way down to 10. But Abraham had to learn himself that the Lord is able to deliver the righteous from among the wicked, or separate the wheat from the tares. Let's go ahead and pick it up at verse 1. Genesis 19 and verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And there came two angels to Sodom at even. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom.
Right.
And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, unto your servant's house.
Right.
And tarry all night. Right. And wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early and go in your ways.
Right, so apparently he was worried about helping people, because he just so happened to be sitting in this one location where he sees two people that he knows are from this city. So he's trying his best to help preserve their life, or preserve them from getting caught up in any wickedness from the people of this town. So he's doing his best, he's flattering them, he's bowing to them and everything. Hey, just come on and get something to eat. Go ahead.
And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered in the house, in his house, right, and made them a feast, and did make unleavened bread, and they did eat.
Go ahead. So he's being a host, right? But he's just being a good host, showing some hospitality, some brotherly love, and he's feeding them, and they're under the protection of this house. And they didn't realize, see, from what I can read, Lot did not realize, no, he's the one that's under the protection of them. Go ahead.
But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, house round, both old and young.
Yup.
All the people from every quarter.
Everyone had to come see what's going on in Lot's house. Go ahead.
And they called unto Lot and said unto him, we are the men which came in to thee this night.
Right.
Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
Right. Go ahead.
And Lot went out at the door unto them.
Right.
And shut the door after him.
So he's standing for his household now. He's stepped outside, closed the door behind him, because he's, in other words, saying, I got this, I'm going to handle the situation. Go ahead.
And said, I pray you, brethren,
right,
do not so wickedly.
Right.
Behold now, I have 2 daughters, which have not known man.
Right.
Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes.
All right. He said, at least keep it somewhat natural. But go ahead.
Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
Yeah, go ahead.
And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge.
So now why are they saying, well, why are you judging us when he just gave them another option? So it's a spirit of conviction that's going on right here. So they're always saying, well, why are you judging me about what I do or what I choose to do? No, he just said, look, why don't you just choose a different option? Go ahead.
Now we will deal worse with thee.
Right, because their intentions was unholy anyways, but go ahead.
Than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, Lot.
Right.
And came near to break the door.
So now they're going to try to break it in. But go ahead.
But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door.
So who was under whose protection now? Apparently Lot was under the angel's protection, not Lot protecting the angels. Go ahead.
And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness.
With blindness, go ahead.
Both small and great. So that they wearied themselves to find the door.
Now get that visual. These people have been literally just smitten with blindness. But instead of trying to figure out how do I get my vision back, they still trying to reach and figure out where the door is so they can get at these dudes. Because that's the spirit on them. Go ahead.
And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides?
That's the beautiful part. Now they're not saying, okay, Lot, let's go. They're saying, do you have anything else that falls under your protection as far as relatives, kinsfolk, other people that you want to protect? Go ahead.
Son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place.
Right, because the real protection of the Lord does not just protect you, it protects anything and everything affiliated with you. There's a big message right there. Go ahead.
For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord. And the Lord hath sent us to destroy it.
Before the face of the Father, and Jesus the Son has sent us to destroy it. Because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Let's jump down and take a look at this. Let's go to verse 17.
And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind me. Neither stay thou in all the plain.
Right.
Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed.
Right, because he had pretty much said, hey, I need to get to the land of Zoar. They said, okay, when you get there, then we're going to handle this. In other words, the Lord is not going to let anything happen until all of the servants of God are fully protected. Let's go ahead and jump to verse 23.
The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered into Zoar.
So as soon as he enters into that land, it's time for action. Hit verse 24.
Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah.
Then the Lord, who we know is Jesus, rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah. Jerry, what do you mean? Jesus. It says, then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah. Go ahead.
Brimstone and fire from the Lord out of the heaven.
From the who?
Fire and brimstone out of the heaven.
from the Lord, it said.
Yeah.
So it says the Lord reigned upon Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord. So you mean that there's two lords according to the Bible? You better understand who is who in this book. Now hit verse 25.
And he overthrew these cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the city.
It wasn't just those two cities, it was other cities that was destroyed, the cities of the plain, go ahead.
And that which grew upon the ground.
And that was, so the trees got in trouble. He destroyed everything. Go ahead in verse 26.
But his wife looked back from behind him.
Right.
And she became a pillar of salt.
So, but there was someone who still was looking back. We don't know what exactly he was looking back for, but I just know one thing. In verse 27, the story just goes on. I don't even see anyone weeping over this individual. It's all about staying on the right track and not looking back. So, let's pick it up at Genesis chapter 15. Because I have to show so far the days of Noah are already here, the days of Babylon are already here, and now also so are the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's all over the news networks. It's being taught in the schools, or as far as history, they're putting out a legislation. You can't cut on television without seeing some form or fashion of it. They even have I saw a sandwich the other day. They said this is called the LGBT. The lettuce. Guacamole, bacon, and tomato sandwich. I say, get out of here now. Y'all doing too much. But this is the thing that people just need to stop and realize that there is no such thing as a homosexual that is on the earth that did not come by way of a heterosexual relationship.
Right.
So which one has the power? It's common sense. Common sense. LGBT sandwich.
That's right.
It was rainbows all over it. The last time I thought the rainbow was a covenant the Lord made with the earth about the protection from Noah and his house. That was going to be extended to all the earth. But they're corrupting his way upon the earth because the days of Sodom and Gomorrah are here also. Let's go to Genesis 15 and hit one verse 13.
And he sat and said unto Abram, Know of a surety,
yeah.
that thy seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs.
That was prophecy. So we know Israel had to end up going to a form of captivity by way of Egypt, but go ahead.
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also,
that's it, because there's a whole list. I'm just showing that it was already foretold, so it had to come to pass. Let's go to Exodus chapter 1 and see it coming to pass. Because we're now going to grab another set of days that are evil and show how it lines up with today. Y'all get some so far?
Yeah.
Praise God. Exodus chapter 1, and we're going to pick this up at verse 10. Exodus chapter 1 and verse 10. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Come on. Let us deal wisely with them.
Right, we jumped over the whole story about how they traversed and got into Egypt and what happened with Joseph. We're getting right to the story. Go ahead.
Lest they multiply.
Right.
And it come to pass that when there falleth out any war,
right,
they join also unto our enemies.
Right.
And fight against us.
Right.
So get them up out of the land.
Right. So you have the number one, they're worried about the children of Israel produce too many babies. We got to do something about this. Go ahead.
Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them.
So they try to do about, this is about controlling a population of a group of people. It came by way of bringing hardship first. This was the first tactic. Go ahead.
And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities.
Right, because in other words, they got all this work that's been being placed on, so they're building these locations. Go ahead.
Pithom and Ramses.
Go ahead.
But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
The more they multiplied and grew. Go ahead.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel.
Because the original problem that they were trying to deal with was not fixed. It wasn't about that they needed these cities. They were worried about the population, the people in Goshen. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
So they're trying even hard to stop this. But in these days today, we could just come on the news and see the same thing going on, right? You could come, what was that? A woman who was just being approached by a cop in a parking lot, turned around and was shot 5 times. She was unarmed. She had mental illness, and she even communicated that she was pregnant. Whether that was true or not, you have hardship, rigor, and taskmasters still putting affliction on the children of Israel. It's very easy to identify affliction, isn't it? We could talk about all kinds of examples of affliction, but I'm just showing that, well, hold up. If the children of Israel are still in affliction, maybe we are in the days of Egypt again. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I want to jump to an example. Let's go to Genesis 43. I want to jump backwards to Genesis 43 because I want to show how the Egyptians looked at the Israelites. How did they hold them? Did they hold them in notoriety? Did they believe that they were a people that they should affiliate with? Or did they feel like, hey, you have your area, we got our area? So Genesis 43, we're going to pick this up at verse 30. Genesis 43 and verse 30. When you get there, go ahead. Well, let me get there too. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And Joseph made haste, for his bowels did yearn upon his brother, and he sought where to weep.
Right, because he's getting ready to reveal himself to his brothers that, hey, I'm the one that you sold into slavery. It's me, it's your brother Joseph. Go ahead.
And he entered into his chamber and wept there. And he washed his face and went out and refrained himself and said, set on bread. And they set on for him by himself.
So they put some bread in by himself, go ahead.
And for them by themselves.
And for the Egyptians, they put their food by this. But this individual is the second in charge over Egypt, but they don't want their food on the same table. Go ahead.
And for the Egyptians, which did eat with him by themselves, because the Egyptians might not eat bread with the Hebrews.
Because the Egyptians didn't want to do what? Eat bread with the Hebrews. Go ahead.
For that is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
So there's still locations on earth, I speak specifically about this country, about they have places where they want to eat, and then they have other places where they don't want to eat. You know what they call those? They call those sundown towns. You need that green book to know where to travel, because if you get caught there with the sun going down, they're going to have a problem. So that's what's going on here. It's the same mindset of the Egyptians. Go ahead, because it's also the days of Egypt. Let's go to Genesis 46 now and pick up at verse 31. Genesis 46 and verse 31. Because I love how the Lord was showing us, because I'm thinking I'm going to just walk down one little topic, and the Lord's over here just, dealing with my mind, showing, well, what about this? Well, what about that? What about that? We could read what he said about the days of Noah in Matthew 24, but he just called it out by name. But if you read the Old Testament, you can read all kinds of wicked days and actions going on. He just said, just put it together. Just so then what we're living in today is an amalgamation of all those combined. Genesis 46, and when you get there, people, at verse 31, when you get there, go ahead and read.
And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house,
right?
I will go up and show Pharaoh, and say unto him, my brethren,
right,
and my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan,
right,
are come unto me.
Right, go ahead.
And the men of our shepherds,
and the men, he's going to let know the men of shepherds, go ahead.
For their trade hath been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you and shall say, what is your occupation?
Right, what is your occupation? Go ahead.
And ye shall say, thy servants' trade have been about cattle from our youth,
right,
even until now.
Right, so he said, look, go ahead and tell them what you do. Tell them what we do as a people, that we are like shepherds of cattle. Go ahead.
Both we and also our father, that he may dwell in the land of Goshen.
That he may go ahead and push you to another location. Go ahead.
For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians.
Oh, because what we do as a people is an abomination unto them. So there was two different ways where the children of Israel were considered abominable to this other high society people. That's why they feel like they could put taskmasters over them. Because that was their occupation, to build the cities of Ramses and Pithom. Their occupation was to be shepherds. But it's a whole other agenda that's going on with that, with the children of Israel. But let's go ahead and jump to Exodus chapter 12 and show when the Lord steps in on the days of Egypt, what is he trying to accomplish? Exodus chapter 12, and we're going to pick this up at verse 1. I need to walk down all these sets of days so I can now point the bigger picture of what's happening or going to happen next. Amen?
Amen.
Exodus chapter 12, pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt,
Right?
saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of month,
Right?
and it shall be the first month of the year to you.
Right. And that's not recognized today. We know when the new year begins. It begins in the spring. But in the days of Egypt, no one ever considers that the beginning of the year. Go ahead.
Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying,
Right.
In the 10th day of this month,
Right?
they shall take them over a lamb,
Every man a lamb.
every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers,
Right.
a lamb for an house.
A lamb for a house. Jump to verse 6.
And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month.
Right?
And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it.
Right?
And it in the evening.
Now jump to verse 11.
And thus shall ye eat it.
Right?
With your loins girded.
Right.
Your shoes on your feet.
Right, because this judgment of this particular nation comes with some knowledge and understanding. So if you're going to get delivered from this particular captivity, you have to have some knowledge and some insight. Go ahead.
And your staff in your hand.
Right.
And ye shall eat it in haste.
And you're going to eat it in haste. Go ahead.
It is the Lord's
It's
Passover.
the Lord's Passover. Go ahead.
For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night.
Right.
And will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt.
I'll show who has the power over life and death. Go ahead.
Both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt.
Against all the who?
The gods of Egypt.
All the gods of Egypt. So there's going to be a lot of false god worship. Go ahead.
I will execute judgment. For I am the Lord.
Right, I'm going to execute judgment. So don't we have a lot of false gods being worshipped today? Even another Jesus, as it says in 2 Corinthians 11. But it's fine to say his name is Jesus. We have no problem with that. We have no quarrel. But when you show the way in which you worship him, you are showing me that you are not worshiping the Jesus of the Bible. It's another Jesus. Why do you think we have to cover up some of these images? Go ahead.
And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are.
Actually, you would have, yeah, go ahead, finish it out. The blood should be on your houses. Go ahead.
And when I see the blood, I will pass over you.
Right.
And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you.
Right.
When I smite the land of Egypt.
Exactly, because the Passover is really points of protection. So here, if you are actually operating in faith with God of Israel of the Bible, you actually don't have no problem with keeping the Passover. But you know when to do it. In the first month, right? Like I said in Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. Because the first month is pointing to the spring, the month Abib. So you're keeping it in its season at the right time. You're not doing it every fourth Sunday, every third Sunday, or every Sunday like some churches do. And switching the name, calling it communion. Right. You know what to do in remembrance of him. The Passover. Because he didn't die for you every Sunday or every third Sunday. He died for you on one day. The Passover.
Right. Yes, sir.
And he gave you a second chance. If you was too far, or if you want to clean by reason of a dead body, you could get in and take the Passover on the 14th day evening of the second month. Because this is God of second chances.
Amen.
Well, I don't mean four. I'm just holding it to I can count. Praise God. Now let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's go to Exodus 18 and verse 8. Because he said, this is what I plan to do. This is not about just delivering you just because you're a group of people. It's about sanctifying himself and showing that he's greater than all the other false gods. Good? Yeah, good. Okay. Picking up at Exodus 18 and picking up at verse 8. Exodus 18 and verse 8. This is about sanctifying himself. And verse 8, when you get there, go ahead and read. This is after they already are delivered. Verse 8, go ahead.
And Moses told his father-in-law all that the Lord had done unto Pharaoh.
Right.
And the Egyptians for Israel's sake, and all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how the Lord delivered them.
Right. Now, isn't that interesting? The Lord set up the situation, and he defeated the situation that they went through. Because it's all about him getting the actual glory for what happened, for what transpired. Go ahead.
And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which the Lord had done in Israel.
Now Jethro's rejoicing over him. Go ahead.
Whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Egyptians.
Right.
And Jethro said, Blessed be the Lord, who hath delivered you out of the land of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh.
Right.
Who hath delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians.
Right. Blessed be the Lord for what he has done. He didn't say nothing about Moses, did he? Go ahead.
Now I know that the Lord is greater than all gods.
I know that what? That the Lord is greater. I got some knowledge. Go ahead.
For in the thing wherein they dwelt proudly, he was above them.
So even the people that's acting proudly above you, guess what? He's above them. That's why you don't give too much, credence to people that's acting wickedly and proudly over you, because it's someone that's even above them in the first place. Because all the breath is his. Go ahead.
And Jethro.
In fact, case in point, when he destroyed the whole earth, he used the days of Noah. He used what? Water, right?
Right.
Took away their breath. When it came down to the days of Egypt, what did he do with these Egyptians that followed them on chariots? He had the flood or the waters go ahead and release and close up on them and took away their what? Their breath. Go ahead.
And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering.
Actually, we're done with verse 11. We're going to keep jumping. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4. Because we need to start showing what's at the root of the whole matter. Genesis chapter 4 now, and show some more days. Genesis chapter 4. So far, we have covered the days of Noah, the days of Babylon, the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the days of Egypt. Well, there's another set of days we need to focus on. Pick it up at Genesis chapter 4 and pick it up at verse 1. You get there, go ahead and read.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife.
Right?
And she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord.
Yep, go ahead.
And she again bare his brother, Abel.
Yep.
And Abel was a keeper of the sheep.
Right.
But Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Right, go ahead.
And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord.
Right, go ahead.
And Abel also.
Now, it says fruit of the ground. It's not saying that, you know how pumpkin actually grows, but it kind of grows on the ground. He's saying he's got something from the ground. So if like an apple fell from a tree, well, I just scoop up anything and just offer it to the Lord. That's what's going on here. Go ahead.
And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord.
Right.
And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof.
So one's offering a subpar offering and one's offering the best. Go ahead.
And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
He had respect unto the best offering. Go ahead.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect.
Go ahead.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance failed.
So instead of him just saying, man, I should do better, he's got upset at this other individual. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth?
Right.
And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted?
Right. Won't you be accepted if you do the right thing? Go ahead.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
Right. Sin lieth at the door. In other words, it's easy for you to just go ahead and sin if you don't want to do right. Go ahead. But we know that sin is a transgression of the law, so the law has to be back here too, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And unto thee shall be his desire.
Right.
And thou shalt rule over him.
Right. Go ahead and jump to verse 8.
And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
Right, go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother?
Right.
And he said, I know not.
Right.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Right, so now he's going to lie straight to God. Go ahead.
And he said, what hast thou done?
Right.
The voice of thy brother's blood cried upon me from the ground.
Yep.
And now art thou cursed from the earth,
right,
which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand.
So now he's saying that, let me paint the picture. You have now two individuals that think they are worshiping the same God now. But because someone's putting in actual work to offer the best, the one that thinks they're worshiping the same God that's not offering up anything that's righteous, but just grabbing anything he wants to, just offering it up. He said he's now mad at this other individual because now he feels some kind of way or intimidated that his works are unrighteous. So instead of him, raising the bar, he says, I'm just going to take out the competition. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. No, that's in verse 11?
Yes.
Perfect. Let's jump to verse 15.
And the Lord said unto him, therefore, whosoever slave came, vengeance shall be taken to him on him.
Right. So,
sevenfold.
Right, because he was now worried like, oh, now that I'm, Mark, because the Lord put a mark upon Cain, he's like, now whoever's, people are going to be gunning for me. But he's saying, look, whoever should slay Cain shall be, vengeance shall be taken upon him sevenfold, because it's not always what someone is doing to you that you need to worry about. It's all about the righteous people of God. How do you react? How do you respond? Because all kinds of situations we could read about several things that happen to the people of God, but their response is what's most important. Did they take vengeance in their own hand? Did they say, well, I'm just do what I'm going to do? Or they actually said, I'm going to let God handle it because he said vengeance is mine. All right? Now let's jump to John chapter 16. Because what I'm trying to highlight here is like, just like then, you had individuals who were trying to, how can I say, get rid of the competition because they had the same mentality in the days of Cain. So now we have these days going on, and Jesus let you know the days of Cain are about to come back around. John chapter 16 and verse 1, and when you get there, go ahead and read.
These things have I spoken unto you.
Hold on 1 second. Here are a few more pages, no problem. John 16 and verse 1, hit it.
These things have I spoken unto you.
Right.
That ye should not be offended.
Right, that you shouldn't be offended. Go ahead.
They shall put you out of the synagogues.
But they think they're worshiping the same God. He said they're going to put you out the churches. Go ahead.
Yeah, the time comes that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God's service.
So the people that are even thinking they're going to come against you, like you had Paul trying to go against a lot of the early disciples and followers of Christ back then. He thought he was doing God's service. That was back in the days of Rome, but then you turn around and saw where even in the future you're going to have people, getting marked, just like Cain did, because they're going to accept that mark that's spoken of in Revelation 13, but they're going to get that from that one beast, which is that Roman Empire, and then you're going to have some people that's not going to get it, because they are really trying to act like Seth's seed or like Abel's seed, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what's going on here. But let's hit verse 3.
And these things will they do unto you.
Right.
Because they have not known the Father nor me.
They have not known the Father nor me. Let's go ahead and jump to Proverbs 29. So what days are going to be upon the earth? The days of Cain. When the people who think that they're worshiping and serving God, the same God as you, because they say, are we serving the same God? They say that a lot of times, right? Yep. But when enough pressure is applied, or a type of circumstance presents itself, and they think that they have the opportunity to get away with it, they will turn around and kill you too. But right now, they're just killing you by way of your reputation. Oh no, don't talk the Bible and such and such. She Holy Jane, or don't bring up nothing about Christmas or Easter to this individual. So it's just character assassination right now. But they're going to step it up the closer we get to the last days. Okay? So Proverbs 29, we're going to hit one verse 27. Proverbs 29 and verse 27. Hit that one verse. When you get there, go ahead and read.
An unjust man is an abomination to the just.
Right, because if someone's being wicked, well then I don't really want to deal with them. That's what's going on here. Go ahead.
And he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked.
And right, because when people feel convicted because you say you go to church on Saturday, now you don't hear from them almost all week. Because they got plans on Saturday, they want to ask you, but they know what response you're going to give them. So they just rather not, bring it up. How the Eagles doing, how the Ravens doing. They're going to talk about other stuff, right? Yeah. That's what's going on here. Because they understand that there's a spiritual conviction going on. I just pray that they act on that spiritual conviction versus laying down in the grave in it. All right? Let's go to Daniel chapter 7. I spoke about this lightly. I want to go into it a little bit. Daniel chapter 7. So what days have we hit so far? Again, I'm keep reiterating it. We've hit the days of Noah. We've hit the days of Babylon, the days of Sodom, the days of Egypt, and now the days of Cain. Well, now we have to pick up these other set of days in Daniel chapter 7. And we're going to pick this up at verse 1. Daniel 7 and verse 1. I got to leave y'all. My water's up there. I like hanging with y'all. I got to leave. Y'all get there, go ahead and read.
In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon,
Right.
Daniel had a dream and visions in his head,
Right.
on his bed.
Right?
Then he wrote the dream and told the son of the matter.
So we're trying to get some understanding about this dream. Go ahead.
Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night,
Right.
and behold, the four winds of the heavens strode on the great sea.
The four winds of heaven is talking about the four Gentile dynasties. Go ahead.
And four great beasts came up from the sea.
Right, these are governments or empires. Go ahead.
Diverse one from another.
Right.
The first was like a lion. It had eagle's wings.
Yep.
I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked.
Right.
And it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man.
Right.
And a man's heart was given to it.
Right. So that first one is Babylon, the kingdom or the of Babylon, but that's not the Hamitic Babylon. This is talking about the Gentile Babylon. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 5.
And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bed, and it raised itself up on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it.
Right.
And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh.
This is the Medo-Persian Empire, which followed after the Babylonian Empire. Hit verse 6.
After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl.
Right.
And the beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it.
So dominion is now given to this beast. So dominion over the whole earth is given to these beasts or these governments or kingdoms in a specific order, chronological order. Go ahead.
After this,
Right.
I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly.
Right.
It had great iron teeth.
Right.
It devoured and brake in pieces.
Right.
And stamped the residue with the feet of it.
Right. Go ahead.
And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it.
Right. Now this one's different from all the other beasts, and I'll show you why. Go ahead.
And it had 10 horns.
And it had 10 horns. So it was the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, then the Roman Empire in chronological order. Now, what's so different about the last empire? The last empire that no beast was relegated to it because it was so dreadful. The last empire was the one that did something special, and they said, "I'm gonna pick up this book and then we're gonna claim it for ourselves." The Greeks didn't try to preach the Bible. The Medo-Persians didn't try to preach the Bible, nor did the Babylonians. They had their own separate way of worship. But the Romans, it's a different beast right here. So let's go ahead and jump to Jeremiah 27, because we need to figure out what's associated with Babylon as far as the ruler to slowly identify someone that's around today. Jeremiah 27, we're going to pick this up at verse 1. Because whoever ends up being the king of Babylon, that is a successive role. That is a role that's passed down until the Lord comes. Jeremiah 27, and pick this up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim,
Right.
the son of Josiah,
Right.
king of Judah, came this word unto Jeremiah from the Lord, saying,
Right.
Thus saith the Lord to me,
Uh-huh.
make thee bonds and yokes, and put them upon thy necks,
Right.
and send them to the king of Edom, and the king of Moab, and the king of the Ammonites,
Right.
and the king of Tyrus.
Right. So make these yokes. This is talking about, put yourself in subjection, all these other nations, to the king of Babylon. Go ahead.
And to the king of Zion,
Right.
by the hand of the messengers which came to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah, king of Judah.
Right. Now hit verse 6.
And now have I given all these lands to the hand of Nebuchadnezzar and the king of Babylon.
So he said, this is the Lord talking. I gave all these lands into Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Go ahead.
My servant.
Now that don't mean he's serving the real God. He's just serving a purpose that the Lord wants him to execute. Go ahead.
And the beast of the field have I given him also to serve him.
Right. So the Gentiles are going to have the whole earth, and they're going to even own the zoos. They got all the beasts, all the animals under control, all the aquariums. Go to him. When's the last time you went to a brother that had an aquarium? He ain't got one. You can visit in Baltimore, but we don't own it. Go ahead.
And all the nations shall serve him.
And all the nations shall, and all the nations. Not so he named a few in verse 3, right? But he said all the nations shall what?
Serve him.
Shall serve him. Go ahead.
And his son.
Oh, and his son. Go ahead.
And his son's son.
And his son's son. Go ahead.
Until the very time of his land comes.
Until the very time his land comes to an end. Go ahead.
And then many nations and great kingdoms shall serve themselves of him.
But that's talking about when they're taken down. Let's take a look at this because it showed it was passed through the lineage. Let's go to 2 Chronicles 36. It was passed from him to his son's son. But let's keep it moving in 2 Chronicles 36 and dissect this a little bit further. Because when you see this, then I can put the title of these days that we're in for another vantage point. 2 Chronicles 36, and we're going to pick this up at verse 4. 2 Chronicles 36 and verse 4. When you get there, go ahead and read. Get it.
And the king of Egypt made Eliakim, his brother, king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. And Necho took Jehoahaz, and his brother, and carried him to Egypt.
In verse 5.
Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem.
Right.
And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
Right, go ahead.
Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon.
Okay, so he came up against Jehoiakim, Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. Go ahead.
And bound him in fetters to carry him to Babylon.
Right. Now let's jump to verse 17. Because the Lord was trying to warn the people to do right, but they was mocking them, so verse 17 had to happen. Go ahead.
Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with a sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young men, or maiden, old men, or him that stooped for age. He gave them all into his hand.
Right. Now that's to verse 20.
And them that had escaped from the sword carried him away to Babylon.
So the people that didn't die, he took them as captives or slaves into Babylon. Go ahead.
Where they were servants to him.
Where they were servants to him, go ahead.
And his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia.
Until the Persian kingdom came. So I just shown you how it went from the Babylonian kingdom, and they were still there when the Medo-Persian kingdom came into play. And that's what happened with the writing on the wall, meaning Tekel Upharsin. Thou has been found, and the balances have been found wanting. Weight of the balances have found wanting. And then he was taken out, and then Darius inherited the kingdom. But let's keep this moving to expound on a specific point. Let's go to Isaiah 44. Because then you had another individual who ended up being king over the Medo-Persian, specifically the Persian Empire. And this individual is going to, I'm going to let the Lord break it down, and then I'm going to let this individual speak on it. Isaiah 44, and we're going to pick this up at verse 24. Isaiah 44 and verse 24. Listen to this prophecy. Listen very closely. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer.
Who's the Redeemer?
The Lord.
Right, that's Jesus. So I'm just showing you who's orchestrating this, or who's the puppet master. Go ahead.
And he that formed thee from the womb.
The one that formed thee from the what?
The womb.
So he's forming people from the womb. Who is it on our end to destroy people that come from the womb? Right. Go ahead.
I am the Lord.
Right.
That maketh all things.
Right.
That stretcheth forth the heavens alone.
That stretches forth the heavens himself. Go ahead.
That spreadeth abroad the earth by myself.
By himself. Go ahead.
That frustrateth the tokens of the liars.
Who's the one frustrating the liars? He is. Who's frustrating those in Babylon? That was him. Go ahead.
And maketh diviners mad.
Right.
They turneth wise men backward.
Right.
And maketh their knowledge foolish.
He made those that think they got some knowledge according to all this, the Chaldeans and the soothsayers. He made them look foolish. Go ahead.
That confirmeth the word of his servant.
Right.
And performeth the counsel of his messengers.
Right. Go ahead.
That saith to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited.
So he said to Jerusalem, you shall be inhabited. Go ahead.
And to the cities of Judah, ye shall be built.
Right, because they were taken down by Nebuchadnezzar. But he said, you're still going to be built. Go ahead.
And I will raise up the decayed places thereof.
Right, all this rubble, all this stuff that was taken down, I'm going to raise it up. Go ahead.
That saith to the deep.
So he said to the deep. In other words, well, when they crossed the Red Sea, it was deep. But he said to part of it. Go ahead.
Be dry.
Be dry. So he could dry up a whole ocean, or he could dry up a river. He could do whatever he wants. Be dry. Go ahead.
And I will dry up thy rivers.
Right. Go ahead.
That saith of Cyrus.
That says of Cyrus. This is the individual that says of Cyrus what?
He is my shepherd.
Oh, he's my shepherd. Go ahead.
And shall perform all my pleasure.
Cyrus is going to perform all my pleasure. Go ahead.
Even saying to Jerusalem.
Even by him saying to Jerusalem what?
Thou shalt be built.
You shall be built according to prophecy. And King Cyrus, even though he's a king according to the Gentiles, still can't break prophecy. Go ahead.
And to the temple.
And to the temple, because the first temple was taken down. There had to be a second temple for Jesus to enter into and show himself. Go ahead.
Thy foundation shall be laid.
The foundation shall be laid. And that foundation that was laid is what the elders were crying over because it wasn't as magnificent as the previous temple. But now let's go ahead and keep this moving. Let's go to Ezra chapter 5. Let's go backwards to Ezra chapter 5 and see this individual executing what the Lord had put in his mind, and he couldn't deviate to the right hand or to the left at all. Ezra chapter 5, and let's pick this up at verse 7. Ezra 5 and verse 7. When you get there, go ahead and read.
They sent the letter unto him, where it was written thus, unto Darius the king, all peace. But it known unto the king that
be it known unto the king, yep.
Be it known unto the king that we went into the province of Judea,
yep.
To the house of the great God,
right,
which was builded with great stones, and timber is laid in the walls,
right.
And this work goeth fast on, and prosperous in their hands.
Right, it's being accomplished. Go ahead.
Then as we, those elders, and said unto them thus, we commanded you to build this house.
He said, who commanded you to build this house? Go ahead.
And to make up these walls.
And to make up these walls. Go ahead.
We asked their names also.
Right.
To certify these.
Right. We asked their names. Like someone's checking for your ID. Go ahead.
That we might write names of the men that were the chief of them.
Go ahead.
And thus they returned us answers saying,
right.
We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth,
right,
and build the house that was builded these many years ago, which was a great king of Israel, built it and set up.
You said we are the servants of God of heaven and earth, which was a great king of Israel. So the original king of Israel wasn't really even King Saul. It was him. Go ahead.
But after that, our fathers had provoked the God of heaven unto wrath.
Right.
He gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar.
So they understood the reason and the cause and effect of why they were in this condition. They didn't blame anybody else. They blamed their own forefathers. Go ahead.
The Chaldean who destroyed this house.
Right, because the Chaldean is Gentiles. The Chaldean who destroyed, Nebuchadnezzar who destroyed this house. Go ahead.
And carried the people away unto Babylon.
Right.
And in the first year of Cyrus.
But in the first year of who?
Cyrus.
Of Cyrus. Go ahead.
The king of Babylon.
Whoa. I thought Cyrus was king of the Persian Empire. Why is King Cyrus being called the king of Babylon? Because the position of the king of Babylon is successive to who plays that position as ruler of the Gentiles. So there has to be a king of Babylon under the Greek Empire, and there needs to be a king of Babylon in the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
Made a decree to build his house of God.
He made a decree to build this house of God because he can't break prophecy. Keep going.
And the vessels also of gold and silver of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem, and brought them into the temple of Babylon. Those did Cyrus the king take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Sheshbazzar, whom he had made governor.
Right. So he didn't only just give a decree, he's also getting some of their own relics and returning it to them so they could build the second temple. Go ahead.
And said unto him, take these vessels, go, carry them into the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let the house of God be builded in his place.
And let the house of God be built in his place. Now, that's the thing. He's just assisting the Jews in what they need to do. But this king, let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, is different. Because the great Jericho terrible beast, which Daniel 7 is speaking about, which is the last Roman Empire, he doesn't want to just help it get built. He wants to play an active role in it, specifically showing up in the Holy of Holies that Jesus gave warning about this individual. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And when you get there, we're going to pick this up at verse 6. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And now you know that withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time.
He might be revealed, but we're revealing him now. He's being revealed in his time. Go ahead.
For the mystery of iniquity doth already work.
It's already in operation. This mystery of iniquity does already work. Go ahead.
Only he who know now letteth will let.
He who letteth will let. Go ahead. In other words, the Lord is allowing this to happen. Go ahead.
Until he be taken out of the way. Then he shall be wicked. Then shall that wicked be revealed.
Right.
Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth.
Right.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Right. So this individual is gonna be taken down. But what did he do? Hit verse 4. Yeah, jump backwards to verse 4.
Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God.
So he exalted himself above all that is called God. Go ahead.
Or that is worship.
Right.
So that he as God sitteth in the temple of God.
He as God sits what?
In the temple of God.
So we know there's going to be another temple built, and he's going to show up in it saying that he is God, or he is the vicar of Christ, or replacement of Christ. That he is Pontifex Maximus, the supreme bridge builder. He's going to try to take that position. So it's one thing to try to usurp the priest, but you're going to try to usurp the high priest? The high priest himself will visit you and take you down. Yes, sir. Go ahead and finish out the end of verse 3. Did you finish that out?
You mean verse 4?
No, right. Verse 4, yep. He as God sits in the temple of God, go ahead.
Or that is worship, so that he is God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
He is going to try to execute this. So we know that there's going to be a people that's going to build a temple, and he's going to want to be the one that doesn't want to just help out. He wants to play the lead role in it. But why is this happening? Because this is going to happen in which days? The days of Rome. That's why the European Union is talking about they need to get their house in order. Instead of trying to placate the United States, we need to turn around and try to figure out how to defeat or put a bridge between us and our adversaries to the east, being Russia and China, the kings of the east. Because the days of Rome, this has to happen. Let's go ahead and go to Acts 17, though. But we have to understand what's going on in the days of Rome. Because just as the days of Rome were in the early Roman Empire, in the revived Roman Empire, this will still be happening. Acts 17. And we're going to pick this up at verse 16. This individual has news channels, you cut on your TV right now, he has his own dedicated television channel. I can't believe it. Acts 17 and verse 16. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Now, while Paul waited for them at Athens,
right,
his spirit was stirred in him when he saw the city wholly given to idolatry.
Because he's trying to go preach the gospel. Next thing you know, his spirit gets stirred up by all this idolatry. In other words, you have to say something. Go ahead.
Therefore disputed he in the synagogue with the Jews,
right,
and with the devout persons.
So the people that think they devout, the people that think they Jews and just doing everything right, he's over here disputing with everybody. Go ahead.
And in the market daily of them that meet with him.
Right, and so he's disputing with everybody about this. Really dealing with false worship. But here's verse 18.
Then certain philosophers of the
Epicureans
and of the Stoics, encountered him. And some said, what will this babbler say?
So they try to say he's a babbler. but he's not the one worshiping the Babylonian religion. But go ahead.
Other some, he seemeth to be a setter forth of strange gods.
Yeah, he put up some strange God doctrine. That's what they try to accuse him of. But go ahead.
But he preached.
He preached unto them.
He preached unto them Jesus and said, and the resurrection.
And the resurrection. This is not just about Jesus and only Jesus' resurrection. This is about Jesus and the resurrection of all mankind that have ever died. He's not saying that they went to heaven, did he? He's preaching unto them Jesus and the resurrection. Period. Go ahead.
And they took him and brought him into.
Actually, jump to verse 23. Because what he's trying to let them know, they're off point. But verse 23, go ahead.
For as I passed by and beheld your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription.
Right.
To the unknown God.
To the unknown God, go ahead.
Whom therefore ye ignorantly worship.
Right.
Him therefore I declare unto you.
Right. Him therefore I declare unto you. But finish that out.
That was it. Oh, you want me to go?
Oh, no, that's it. Whom you worship, him therefore, declare I unto you. In other words, just like in those days, in the days of Egypt, where they had all these other pantheon of false gods, they still had a pantheon of false gods right now. They still make movies about them. But he's letting them know you are ignorantly trying to worship what they call the unknown God. But he's letting it be known, I know about him. I'm here to expound who he is to you. Now go ahead and jump to, Proverbs 30. So he's teaching them, he's spreading the gospel, he's getting it out there. Acts chapter 2, Peter's spreading the gospel, he's spreading it to the Jews, letting them know that deliver yourself from this untoward generation. Well, we have to understand that there's going to be a generation that wasn't just untoward back then, it's going to be today also. Proverbs chapter 30, and we're going to pick this up at verse 11. Proverbs 30 and verse 11. Y'all still awoke? Yeah. Okay, just making sure. I don't know if I'm going to sleep. Proverbs 30 and verse 11. When you get there, go ahead and read.
There is a generation that curses their father.
Oh, there is a generation that does curse their father. Go ahead.
And doth not bless their mother.
Then you better believe there is a generation that does that. Go ahead.
There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes.
Oh, they think they clean. I'm right. I got it going on. I'm pure in my own eyes. Go ahead.
And yet is not washed from their filthiness.
They ain't even got from the blood of Christ, because that's the only thing that's going to wash you. The waters of purification from Numbers 19 is not in existence anymore because we're not looking for a red heifer. It's pointing to the blood of Jesus that cleanses you on the outside and the in. Go ahead.
There's a generation, oh how lofty are their eyes. And their eyelids are lifted up.
Right. This is referring to pride, but go ahead.
There is a generation whose teeth are as swords.
You get on the metro and you listen to some of the generation, you won't understand. Yeah, they mouth is just like some swords. Go ahead.
And their jaw teeth are as knives.
Right, go ahead.
To devour the poor from off the earth.
Right, because they talking crazy against the poor, they're talking crazy against those who are even older than them. They are honoring the face of the hoary head. They aren't doing anything. They're just, devouring everything, just saying whatever they want. Go ahead.
And the needy from among men.
And the needy from among men. But that generation is still here now. It wasn't just an untoward generation back then. It's still here. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Let's jump to 1 Kings chapter 18. Because we have walked down, we've also added in what? We've added in the days of Rome, to the days of Cain, the days of Egypt, the days of Sodom and Gomorrah, the days of Babylon, and the days of Noah, and we still see a consistent message that we can see all these right now, present day. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's take a look at this, though. This is different. 1 Kings chapter 18. Now, this one, we're going to go even a little bit more in-house with this one. 1 Kings 18, and we're going to pick this up at verse 1, because I need to identify an individual. And let this individual, as he's identified, let's watch something happen concerning him and see if it looks familiar. 1 Kings 18, and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah.
Right.
In the third year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab,
Uh-huh.
and I will send rain upon the earth.
Right, so this is talking about Elijah. Show yourself unto Ahab. Go ahead.
And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria.
Right, jump to verse 15. Because they went through a 3.5-year famine. So go ahead.
And Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today.
Right, go ahead.
So
Obadiah is going to set the meat up, but jump to verse 25. Well, 22. I need 22. I'm sorry, 22.
Then Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain the prophet of the Lord, and Baal's prophets are 450 men.
So Baal's prophets are how many men?
450.
450. In other words, he's vastly outnumbered by false prophets. Now jump to verse 25. Because he said, let's do a contest. We're going to use an animal sacrifice, a bullock. You set fire to yours by calling your God, and I'll set fire to mine by calling my God. Whichever God answers is the real God. Go ahead, verse 25.
And Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you one bullock for yourselves,
Right.
and dress it first,
Right.
for ye are many.
But y'all got the numbers. Go ahead.
And call on the name of your gods.
Right.
Put no fire upon it.
Right, go ahead.
And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it.
Right.
And called on the name of Baal from morning until noon.
Right.
Saying, O Baal, hear us.
So they're doing this for hours. Go ahead.
But there was no
But
voice,
they had no response. Go ahead.
nor any that answered.
Right.
And they leaped upon the altar which was made.
Right. So there being a lot of theatrics is going on with this. Go ahead. Hit verse 27.
And it came to pass at noon
Right.
that Elijah mocked them,
Right.
and said, cry aloud.
So he's over here like looking at his watch like, it's been a few hours now. Y'all been doing this for a while. Ain't nothing happened yet. Go ahead. Cry aloud, for he is a God. That's what he's saying.
Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awakened.
In other words, he's saying maybe you guys are busy doing something else and not listening to you. Maybe that's the reason why you're not getting no fire. Go ahead.
And they cried aloud and cut themselves.
So now, instead of them acknowledging maybe we are doing a bunch of falsehood, they're going to go even deeper into false worship. They're going to go and start cutting themselves and using another level of theatrics to try to invoke a response. Go ahead.
After their manner,
Right.
with knives and lances,
With knives and lances. Go ahead.
till the blood gushed out upon them.
So among them, it was like a crime scene. They're being covered with their own blood. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any answer, nor any that regarded.
So they're doing this from morning until evening. It went from morning to noon. Elijah said something at noon, and they continued from noon until the evening sacrifice and still get no response. You did this all day and not get no response. Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me.
Right.
And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord.
So he said, all right, enough of that. Come on over to me. I'm going to repair the altar. He's going to use 12 stones, verse 31, which represents the 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead and then he has them drench the sacrifice with 12 barrels of water, representing the 12 tribes of Israel yet again. But go ahead and pick it up at verse, I want to pick it up at verse 37. Verse 37.
Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God,
Right.
and that thou hast turned their heart back again.
Right. So this is what Elijah's doing. He has the power, or is executing the power of the Lord to turn the people's heart back unto the real God. Go ahead.
Then the fire of the Lord fell, and
Right.
consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones.
So it didn't take them all day, did it?
No.
It didn't take him an hour. It didn't take him, 3-5 hours. Immediately his prayer was answered, and the fire consumed the burnt sacrifice, letting you know this is a God who actively hears you. We can show in several cases where he has quoted what people have said, and I'm hearing everything that you got to say. I can answer and I can refrain, or I can answer at a particular time, but I am alive. Isn't that what one of his titles, the great I am? Another name, title of his is Israel. Well, in English, that sounds kind of interesting that his name is Israel. Think about that. This ain't no regular God, these false gods. Go ahead and jump down to verse 37. Because not only did the fire burn the animal sacrifice, but it says it licked up the water that was in the trenches. Okay, you did 37 here? Okay, hit verse 39.
When all the people saw it,
right,
they fell on their faces, and they said, "The Lord,
He is God." Right.
And the Lord, He is God.
Right. Go ahead.
And Elijah said unto them,
right,
take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape.
Right, but now the people have a willing ear to actually execute judgment on the false prophets, even no matter how numerous they are. Go ahead.
And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. So all that false worship didn't benefit them at all. No matter how much fame and notoriety that they had, no matter how much favor they had with the king Ahab and Jezebel, his wife, it did not matter. It comes up to nothing here. But what was the Lord showing me here? Just like in these days, the days of Elijah back here, it's going to be like that today, where you're going to have the true prophets or minister or servants of God vastly outnumbered by a bunch of false prophets that cannot invoke the real living God of Israel. Go ahead and pick this up at Malachi chapter 4, because I'm not going to hit the whole story where Elisha, his understudy, turned around and had the spirit of Elijah transferred from Elijah to Elisha. They said the spirit of Elijah doth now rest on Elisha, because Elijah split the waters, right? It said with the mantle, it said it went hither and thither. So just like in the days of Egypt, same thing happened, the waters parted. And Elisha said, where is the God of Elijah? And he did the same thing. And it split the waters, letting you know the spirit of Elijah has transferred from Elijah to Elisha. But Malachi chapter 4, I'm going to show you that it goes even beyond Elisha, because Elisha died. But did that spirit die? Let's see. Malachi chapter 4, and pick it up at verse 4. When you get there, go ahead and read it. Remember ye the law of Moses.
Remember the law of Moses. We're at the very end of what they call the Old Testament, right? The very end is saying, remember the law of Moses. Go ahead.
My servant.
Right.
Which I commanded unto him.
Right.
In Horeb.
Right.
For all Israel.
Right.
With the statutes and judgments.
With the statutes and judgments. Don't be cutting off from my law. Go ahead.
Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Right, before the Lord comes back. In other words, I'm going to send you Elijah the prophet, but this isn't the actual Elijah because he's dead and buried. But the spirit that was on Elijah, I'm going to send through somebody else to come to you to get y'all back on the right track. Go ahead and finish that up. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers of the children. He's going to turn the heart of the fathers of the children. In other words, the type of mindset that the children of Israel had when they understood we need to obey the Lord, he's going to put that mindset on the children or the descendants. Go ahead. And the heart of the children to their fathers. And the heart of the children that say, man, I need to be like Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I need to do what the Lord says so I can get the covenant with him too. Go ahead. Unless I come and smite the earth with a curse. Right, because he's going to come and smite the earth with a curse. But let's find out who that actually was in Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1, and I'll show you why I'm going through all this for your edification. Luke chapter 1, we'll pick up at verse 13. Verse 13, because you had an individual who was born unto Zacharias and his wife Elizabeth, right? And her child was named John the Baptist. But Luke chapter 1, we're going to pick up at verse 13. Well, they call him the Baptist. That was his occupation. Luke chapter 1, verse 13. When you get there, go ahead and read. But the angel said unto him. Because the angel just showed up on him, right? Go ahead. Fear not, Zacharias. For thy prayer is heard. Right. And thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son. Right. And thou shalt call his name John. But they were well stricken in age. He said, like, I don't care. I'm still going to perform this. Go ahead. And thou shalt have joy. Right. And gladness. And many shall rejoice to his birth. Right, they don't rejoice at his birth, but go ahead. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord. Right. And shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. Right. And he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb. Right, it's a good thing that Zacharias and Elizabeth didn't live next door to a Planned Parenthood.
Because the Lord was sending the Holy Ghost through this individual straight from the womb. Go ahead.
And
You going to sleep on me?
no,
Just check. Go ahead. Because I'm fired up now. Go ahead.
and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God.
Oh, so he's going to turn the children of Israel to who? The Lord their God. Key word, the Lord their God, the one that they think is already God. He's going to turn them to him. Go ahead.
And he shall go before him
He's going to go right before who? The Lord their God. Go ahead.
in the spirit and power of Elias.
Oh, in the spirit and the power of Elijah. John the Baptist is going to execute this. So let's see what happens. Well, no, finish out 17. Finish out 17 before I get too amped up. Finish out 17.
To turn the hearts of the fathers of the children
Okay.
and the disobedient to the wisdom or the just.
Oh, that sounds like what we was reading in Malachi 4, right? Go ahead.
Of the just to make ready a people prepared for the Lord.
He's getting the people prepared to meet the Lord. That's the spirit of Elijah. Go ahead now and jump to Matthew 11 and find out what Jesus had to say concerning John the Baptist. Matthew chapter 11, and we're going to pick this up at verse 11. Y'all still with me?
Yeah.
I need to do a pulse check every once in a while. Matthew 11 and verse 11. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Verily I say unto you.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, 2 more pages. Hit it.
Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women,
Right?
there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist.
Right?
Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he.
Right?
And from the days of John,
What verse you at now?
I'm at 12 now.
You at 12? 1 second. 1 second. Jump to verse 13.
For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John.
Right?
And if ye be received, and if ye will receive it,
And if you will receive it, go ahead.
this is Elias, which was for to come.
Well, this was the Elijah who was prophesied for to come. So he said, if you receive it, he ain't got a force on, but hey, it'd be wise to take that counsel. Hit verse 15.
He that hath ears to hear, let him hear.
Right? No, I'm gonna cut that. Let's go ahead and jump to John chapter 1. Because he was sent to do a mission, but let's hear specifically what he pointed out. Because he said he's gonna turn the people to the Lord their God. Go ahead. Yep. John chapter 1. And pick up at verse 19.
And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, Who art thou?
Right?
And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, I am not the Christ.
He said, I'm not the Christ. Go ahead.
And they asked him, What then? Art thou Elias?
So are you Elijah? Well, no, he's not specifically Elijah. Go ahead.
And he said, I am not.
Right?
Art thou that prophet?
That prophet like unto Moses, he's like, no, that's not me. Go ahead.
And he answered, No.
Right? Go ahead.
Then said they unto him, Who art thou? That many give an answer to them that sent us.
Right? Go ahead.
That saith thou of thyself.
Right. What verse you at? In the 22?
Yeah.
Jump to verse 26. Because they're asking, like, who are you? They're trying to get an idea, like, what is pushing you or motivating you to do what you're doing? Jump to verse 26.
John answered them, saying, I baptize with water,
Right?
but there standeth one among you, whom ye know not.
There's someone among us that you don't even know. Go ahead.
It is who coming after me is preferred before me,
Right?
whose shoes, latchet, I am not worthy to unloose.
Right. I'm not even worth to unloose his latches. Jump to verse 29, though.
The next day John seeth Jesus coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world.
So John the Baptist pointed out who? Jesus. He's pointing him out. Hey, that's the one. That's what we've been waiting on. That's the Christ. Behold, the Lamb of God which take away the sins of the world. Jump to verse 36, or 35 rather.
Again, the next day after John stood, and two of his disciples, and looking upon Jesus as he had walked, he said, Behold, the Lamb of God.
Behold, the Lamb of God. So, in the spirit of Elijah, he's pointing out who is the Christ, who is the Messiah, who's the one that's going to take away the sins of the world. So any wicked, Hebrew Israelite that does not acknowledge this individual, they are going against what? Against the spirit of Elijah. They are a what? A false prophet. Because the book just lets you know who it really is, right? Y'all read that clear as day, right? You understand that this individual, Jesus justified and letting it be known that there is none greater born among women greater than him, right? So when he points out that it's really pointing back to Jesus, he's the one that's greater than me. I can't even untie his shoe because he's preferred before me because he was before me. So he's pointing all the way back to Jesus, right? So in the days of Elijah, you'll have a bunch of false prophets calling themselves under whatever denomination. However, the spirit of Elijah is sitting here pointing or through the way of John the Baptist is pointing to who the real Christ or who the real Messiah is. Amen? Y'all with me? Okay, perfect. Now let's go forward to Matthew chapter 24, because I touched on the days of Rome. I'm going to touch a little bit back on the days of Rome again. Matthew 24 and verse 9. Matthew 24 and verse 9. When you get there, go ahead and read, because they're asking about the sign like coming at the end of the world. But just pick up at verse 9. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Then shall they deliver you up,
right,
to be afflicted,
right,
and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake.
Right, because they think they serving God when they do that. But jump to verse 11.
And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many.
Go ahead. But jump to verse 14, because just like there's a lot of 450 priests of Baal, there's going to be a whole lot more that worship falsely. Jump to verse 14.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world.
Do one thing, highlight verse 15 out of the entire chapter of Matthew 24. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached. Go ahead.
In all the world.
In all the world. Go ahead.
For a witness.
For a witness. Unto all nations are going to hear this message that comes from you. There's going to be a witness about this kingdom. Go ahead.
And then shall the end come.
And then shall the end come. But that's what we are talking about. We're going up to get the kingdom. We're talking about a kingdom that's going to come. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. So we're speaking about a kingdom to come. Now let's go to Ecclesiastes 12. Because all this time, when I started in, Genesis, was that chapter 6, where I showed the lifespan of man was 120 years, that's because it was cut down from 999 years. It was cut down to 120. If I took you to Psalms chapter 90, I can show you that it's cut down to about, 70 years. This is talking about averages. This isn't saying no one can live over 70. This is averages of all the population. Then we're going down to Ecclesiastes. Where did I just take y'all? Ecclesiastes 12. Yeah, 12 and 1. 12 and 1. When you get there, go ahead and read. Ecclesiastes 12 and 1. Hit it.
Remember now thy creator.
Remember your creator. Go ahead.
In the days of thy youth.
While you're still young. Go ahead.
While the evil days come not.
While the evil days come not. Because there's the evil days as far as talking about, aging and elderly. Go ahead.
Nor the years draweth not.
Right.
When thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them.
Right. In other words, he's saying, serve the Lord God in your youth. Because sin entered into the world, now we age as a people. So he's saying, remember your creator in your youth while you have some smoke to do it. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 66. One verse. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 66. Because all mankind has been cut down to approximately around 70 years, or by a stretch 80, before we go to the grave. But Israel is a different case. Deuteronomy 28 verse 66. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee.
That's why we as a people, especially the brothers, say, man, I'd be lucky if I make it to 25. Because us as a people, we aren't given that full 70 or 80. Go ahead.
And thou shalt fear day and night.
Day and night, go ahead.
And shalt have none assurance of thy life.
And we as a people have none assurance of our life. Because the Deuteronomy 28 curses has been poured out on the children of Israel. But that's another reason why the days are evil. Because we are not living the full length of our days. The Lord is going to come and restore long life when he returns. He says the days of our people shall be as the days of a tree. So just like those redwoods out in California, they're going to be living long days. But let's go ahead and hit Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5. Y'all are getting there. Y'all staying with me. Ephesians 5 and verse 14. Because when you start understanding, well, why are all these days, even from the various kingdoms that I broke down, the various time periods I broke down, because you have to also add in age, because aging was not supposed to be part of the creation. Adam was never given a day that he should depart back to the ground. But the Lord has to be the fixer-upper of everything. So that's one of the things he's going to address also. Go ahead and hit Ephesians 5 and verse 14. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest.
Right, go ahead.
And arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light.
When you arise from the dead, Christ shall give you light. Go ahead.
See then that ye walk circumspectly, as not fools.
Right, not as fools. Go ahead.
Not as fools, but as wise.
That you walk in righteousness. Hit verse 16.
Redeeming the time.
Redeeming the what?
The time.
Redeeming the time. You want to redeem some time back. Go ahead.
Because the days are evil.
Because the days are evil. Our lifespan has been shortened, but we want Christ. We want Saint Christ to do what? To redeem time that we had lost back in the Garden of Eden, which is long life and no death. Now let's go to Revelations 12, because I have to show the cause of all of this. Because I was hitting the kingdoms and people and everything. I was hitting it from a physical perspective. I need to show you the spiritual side of it as well, to show what happened on the spiritual side is just manifesting in the physical. Amen? Revelation 12 and one verse 12. And when you get there, go ahead and read it.
Therefore rejoice.
Right?
And ye that dwell in them.
Right?
Woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
Woe to the what?
Inhabitants of the earth.
That's us. Everyone on earth is saying woe unto you. Go ahead.
And of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you.
Who has came down unto us?
The devil.
Go ahead.
Having great wrath. Because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
He only has a little bit of time. Turn to Jude right before Revelations. Turn to Jude. So this one individual came, but did he come by himself?
No.
Can I get some feedback? Did this one angel come by himself? No. Okay, he brought 1/3 of an innumerable amount of angels with him, right? Let's see them also, because he has a team with him. So that way we can see the same operation when they were twisting the previous world societies, they still here, because not one angel's been put in the lake of fire yet. Satan's the first one to go, and the rest of them going to get judged on the day of judgment. But in the meantime, they on their job, so you got to be on your job. So Jude, chapter verse 4, because there's no chapters, verse 4 to hit it.
For there are certain men present and unawares,
right,
who were before ordained to this condemnation.
Ordained to this condemnation. Go ahead.
Ungodly men, turning the grace of God into lasciviousness.
They're going to turn the grace of our God, the second chance he gave us, as a reason or excuse to break his commandments. Go ahead.
And denying the only Lord God and our Lord Jesus Christ.
Right, go ahead. Now, how are they denying him? They deny him in their works. That's why you have the Good Friday and the Easter Sunday. Because on Good Friday, guess what? You're saying that he died on this day and he resurrected before 3 days, 3 nights. Because in the works, they are denying him. Go ahead.
I will therefore put you in remembrance. Though ye once knew this.
You once knew about it. Go ahead.
How that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believe not.
Go ahead. Keep going.
And the angels which kept not their first estate.
The angels that did not keep their first estate. These are the fallen angels. Go ahead.
But left their own inhabitation.
They left their own habitation because they were kicked out. Go ahead.
He hath reserved in everlasting chains of darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
So you cannot see them. They are still here, though, in everlasting chains of darkness. But here, verse 7.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them,
right,
in like manner,
right,
giving themselves over to fornication,
right,
and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example.
For a what?
For an example.
For an example. Go ahead.
Suffering the vengeance of eternal fire.
So these people, these inhabitants of these locations, are being influenced by these fallen angels that kept not their first estate. So woe unto these men that suffer the consequences. Hit verse 8.
Likewise, also, these filthy dreamers defile the flesh,
Defile the flesh. Go ahead.
despise dominion,
Uh-huh.
speak evil dignity.
Speak evil of dignities, but a dignity or a dignitary rather is someone that's let's say no. What's going on? Go ahead. Well, let me go ahead. Shall I hit it? Come on. He ain't feeling too well, so we gotta keep the show on the road. Right. You just go ahead and check on him. Perfect. All right. A dignitary is a noble or someone that holds a royal office. However, when you have a dignity, this is something that comes from a royal person, but they're going to speak evil of dignities. In other words, the law comes from the Holy One of Israel, but they're speaking evil of the law or the commands. All right? We got to keep this moving. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 2, because I need to show why these days are evil, who's associated with the Ephesians chapter 2. We're hitting 3 verses. Because what you have to understand that he has a title. Ephesians 2, and pick it up at verse 1. Ephesians 2 and verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read. Ephesians 2 and verse 1. Hit it.
And you have quickened,
And you, go ahead.
have he quickened,
Right.
whom were dead in trespass and sin.
Right. He quickened, made you alive spiritually. Go ahead.
Wherein in the times past,
We're in the past. You know what you was doing. Go ahead.
according to the course of this world,
You was walking according to the course of this one. You was doing what all the rest of the world does. Go ahead.
according to the prince of the power
Uh-huh.
of the air,
According to the what?
the prince of the power of the air,
The prince of the power of the air. I gotta get this closer to you. So in other words, Satan has a title, right? It's prince. Prince of the power of the air. That's why you come on the radio or the airwaves, you hear nothing but a bunch of foolishness, especially on those false holidays, right? And when it comes to the Lord's holy days, you don't hear nothing coming from them because it's the prince of the power of the air that we was in past times walking according to. But go ahead.
the spirit
The spirit. It's a spiritual war. Go ahead.
that now work in the children of disobedience.
In the children of disobedience. There's the children of the obedient and the children of disobedience, but they are walking according to the course of what the rest of the world does. So they say, well, everyone does it. We've been doing it for this long. It's the spirit of disobedience that's still upon them. However, we're going to jump to, I'm going to jump from there. I don't want to hit that. I want to jump to, give me 2 Timothy 3. 2 Timothy 3. And I got a couple examples and we out. 2 Timothy 3. Because in Daniel chapter 9, he's called the people of the prince, talking about who's going to take down the temple, or Jerusalem rather. Then in Daniel chapter 10, he's called the prince of Persia. Well, of course he's called the prince of Persia because he's the prince over the Persian government. Because once the Israelites are taken out of that land, whatever is replacing, he's operating through them. Then you have him called in Matthew 24. They tried to call Matthew 12, brother. They tried to call Jesus the prince of devils, but that's really Satan's role. They're trying to say he's casting out these devils by Beelzebub, the prince of devils. But this has nothing to do with Jesus. That has all to do with Satan, who his other title is the prince of the power of the air. Now let's go to 2 Timothy 3 and hit verse 1 and understand why these days are evil. 2 Timothy 3 and verse 1. Hit it.
This know also,
Know this. Go ahead.
that in the last days perilous times shall come.
Uh-huh.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves,
Yes, you better believe it. Go ahead.
covetous,
Boasters.
proud, blasphemous, disobedient to
Disobedience to parents. You know, every talk show has them on that. I'm 4 years old, and I cuss out my mom. I'm 9 years old, and I dress how I want to dress. You know, I'm 12, and I got my own cell phone. I don't come home when I want to. And they try to smack their mom. I said, come on, man. Anyways, keep it going.
unthankful,
Unthankful. Hold on, what do you mean unthankful? But everyone, well, I'll just go like this. On a day called Black Friday, everyone was showing how thankful they were, but why they fight people over merchandise? Go ahead.
unholy, without natural affection,
Without natural affection. You know what natural affection is? A man and a woman. If it's not natural, it's called unnatural. Go ahead.
truce breaker,
Truce breakers. So if you have a covenant, you make a covenant with your wife. But if you make a truce or a covenant or an agreement and you just break out of it for no cause, you are a what? A truce breaker. Go ahead.
false accusers,
False accusers, go ahead.
incontinent,
Uh-huh.
fierce,
Uh-huh.
despisers of those that are good,
They can't stand the ones that are good because Proverbs 29 told us, but go ahead.
traitors,
Uh-huh.
heady,
Heady, yeah.
high-minded,
Uh-huh.
lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God,
Uh-huh. Go ahead and jump right here, verse 5.
having a form of godliness.
Oh, but they do go to church, though. They do sing in the choir, though. Go ahead.
But denying the power thereof.
But they deny the power. What's the power? The word of God. So when he says, don't eat this, don't eat that, they still do it anyways because the days are evil. Go ahead and jump down to verse 7.
Ever learning,
Ever learning. They got all these degrees, right? All these certifications. Student loan debt skyrocketing. They are ever learning. Go ahead.
and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Why is that? What is stopping them from getting to the knowledge of the truth? The false prophets. They are the ones standing in this place, not feeding the people what the word of God says. They are the ones blocking these people that are ever learning and never able or ever able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now go ahead and we're going to jump. I can stay on that. I'm not staying there. Let's jump to Revelation 3. Let's see what the Lord has us doing. Revelation chapter 3. And when you get there, pick it up at verse 1. Revelation 3 and verse 1. Y'all still with me? Okay. Checking again. Revelation 3. And in fact, while we go there, I just want to read a few examples because I really want you to take stock and take into consideration whose kingdom are you currently in? Do we have evidence that you are currently living and residing in Satan's kingdom? Well, the Lord's Passover is ignored and disregarded. The ancient Egyptian civilization is highly exalted. Look on the back of your dollar. All the Sabbath days are ignored and disregarded. Mithras' birthday is celebrated, which is December 25th. His ministers pursue young children for immoral acts. Everyone wants to go where Satan wants to go, which is heaven. The parents hire hitmen to execute their unborn babies. Modesty is ridiculed and virginity is rare. Unfaithful and lewd women are highly exalted and promoted on a daily basis. The radio calls out false gods daily. False ministers have a global audience. A false set of Jews inhabit Jerusalem, which he calls the synagogue of Satan. Many wouldn't know who the real Israelites are and would even deny them. The world would speak against the law of God, and many wouldn't know who the Lord has chosen as priests, and they will set up their own false priests in their place. Capitalism would benefit some of the most wicked individuals. Pork, shrimp, crabs, lobster are eaten across the globe in virtually every establishment. Illicit content is easily accessible. Homosexuality will be embraced and promoted, and Jesus' sacrifice will be replaced by sacred temple prostitutes, which is called Easter or Ashtoreth. Those with familiar spirits will be everywhere communing with the fallen angels. You find Miss Cleo, right? Call me now for your free read. Well, who is she communing with? A fallen angel. Then you have people believe that they would never die at funerals, which is Satan's original lie to Eve, that you should not surely die, but you should be these gods knowing good and evil. Many would say that a man is the replacement or the vicar of Christ. Millions would not know how to even baptize correctly in Jesus' name. They call it verbatim. I baptize you in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Ghost. They don't even know that you need to baptize and call that name like Simon says. Put his name on it. Then millions would not know, billions would deny Christ as Messiah with the 2 nights and 1 day in the grave so-called gospel. So whose kingdom are you currently in? I'm asking you to take stock for yourselves. I'm just giving some examples for you to stop and realize, man, well, maybe that's why this is so upside down or topsy-turvy. Revelation chapter 3 now, and pick it up at verse 1. When you get there, go ahead and read.
And unto the angel of the church in Sardis write.
Right.
These things said he that had the 7 spirits of God.
Go ahead.
And the 7 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I know thy works.
Right.
That thou hast a name that thou livest and art dead.
Right. Go ahead.
Be watchful.
Be what?
Be watchful.
That's what we opened up with those scriptures. Be watchful. Go ahead.
And strengthen the things which remain.
Strengthen the things which remain. Go ahead.
That are ready to die.
Right. They are ready to kill all the commandments, all the dignities that the Lord told us to do, all the statutes, all the judgments. Strengthen the things that remain. Now, how do you strengthen them? In your own household. Go ahead.
For I have not found thy works perfect, God.
Right. Hit verse 3.
Remember therefore,
right,
how thou hast received and heard,
right,
and hold fast,
right,
and repent.
Right. In other words, he's saying, I'm coming, time's coming short. Hold fast and repent. Go ahead.
If therefore thou shalt not watch,
if you don't watch, if you don't keep your garments, if you don't keep your eye out for false doctrine. Go ahead.
I will come on thee as a thief,
I'm going to catch you off guard as a thief. Go ahead.
and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee.
And you are not even going to know what hour that he's going to come upon you. But let's go ahead and pick it up at Revelation chapter 2, and we have one more spot. But even through all this controversy, I don't want to make it seem like, oh my goodness, the wall is closing in on us, because we have all kinds of examples of people who are blessed in the midst of controversy. You had Isaac, he was blessed in the middle of a famine. You had Moses, he was blessed in Egypt, the first and the second time when he went back. You had Joseph, who was blessed while he was a slave and a prisoner in Egypt. You had Daniel, who was blessed while he was still in the lion's den. You had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who were blessed when they was in the actual fire. You had Elijah, who was blessed in Israel, or the northern kingdom of Ephraim, when there was a famine of 3.5 years. And there was, no rain for 3.5 years, because he had birds feed him, and he had an old widow feed him. Then you had Noah, who was blessed in all the earth, even though all the earth was going through destruction. You had Abraham, who was blessed in Canaan when he was surrounded by wicked kings. Go read Genesis 14. They'll name all these kings, and he was blessed because at the end of it, you had Melchizedek come and bless him and said, "Blessed be Abraham of the God of heaven." But he was blessed by Melchizedek because Melchizedek was the king of Salem, which means kings of peace. In other words, the Lord used Abraham to take down all these wicked individuals and give Abraham peace. Because he's the Lord, he's the Lord God of war, the Lord is his name, as the book says. And then you have Paul, who went through a bunch of tribulation in Europe to spread the gospel, but he was still blessed in that circumstance. He was raising brothers from the dead that fell out the window from listening so long. He was getting bit by snakes, he just shaking them off. Because in the midst of all that controversy, that doesn't mean nothing when the Spirit of God is really upon you, because you still going to be blessed. You don't need to move, you will be a solid pillar. Now go ahead and pick Revelation 2 and pick verse 18. And we got one more spot after this. Go ahead.
And unto the angel of the church in Thyatira.
Right.
Right. These things said the Son of God, who have his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works,
right,
and charity,
right,
and service,
yep,
and faith,
yep,
and thy patience, and thy works,
right,
and the last to be more than the first.
Right, go ahead.
Notwithstanding,
however, go ahead.
I have a few things against thee.
I got something against you though. Go ahead.
Because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, which called herself a prophetess.
Which called herself a prophetess. Go ahead.
To teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication.
So they teaching my people to go the wrong way. Go ahead.
And to eat things sacrificed unto idols.
Go ahead.
And I gave her space to repent of her fornication.
Go ahead.
And she repented not.
And she did not repent. Go ahead.
Behold, I will cast her into a bed. And them that commit adultery with her into the great tribulation.
Right. So this is talking about spiritual adultery, worshiping other gods and whatnot. So he says, I'm going to cast her into a bed, and then that commit adultery with her into great tribulation. This is a 3.5-year tribulation. Go ahead.
Except they repent of their deeds.
Except they repent. Hit verse 23 though, because this woman, or this great whore that we read in Revelation 17, has children. Verse 23.
And I will kill her children with death.
He's going to kill her what?
Her children.
Her children with death. Go ahead.
And all the churches.
And all the what?
Churches.
Oh, this is talking about churches. And all the churches shall what?
Shall know.
Shall know. Go ahead.
That I am he which searcheth the reins and hearts. And I will give unto every one of you according to your works.
Right. Go ahead.
But unto you I say.
But unto you. So he's talking about all these other wicked churches, but he's now saying, but unto you I say, go ahead.
And unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine.
As many of you people that don't have this doctrine that she has. Go ahead.
And which has not known the depths of Satan.
And when you have not known the what? The depths of Satan. What do you mean the depths of Satan? The deepness of his mind. Go ahead.
As they speak.
As they what?
As they speak.
As they what?
As they speak.
They are speaking after the depths of Satan. And one of the deepest things that we read in Isaiah 14 today was that I want to go to heaven. Go ahead.
I will put upon you no other burden. But that which ye have already hold fast.
But what you have, hold it till I come. In other words, don't let it go, because you could let it slip. Let's go to the last place in Ephesians chapter 6. Because but it's not just about the church, it's about showing the spirit behind it. That's why they're speaking after Satan. Ephesians chapter 6. Pick this up at verse 11. When you get there, go ahead and read.
Put on the whole armor of God,
that
he may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
Right. The wiles of the who?
Of the devil.
Right, because it's a spiritual warfare. Go ahead.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
This ain't about the people. Go ahead.
But against principalities.
Oh, go ahead.
Against powers.
Powers, go ahead.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
The rulers or the princes of the darkness of this world. They aren't rulers of the light, they rule the darkness. Go ahead.
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Spiritual wickedness in where?
In high places.
Now, is a high place in the Bible, is that considered a government, or is that speaking of a church or a place of worship? A high place in the Bible is speaking of a place of worship. He's letting you know the spiritual wickedness is in the high places. Go ahead. Or the churches. Go ahead.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God.
Go ahead.
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
That you may be able to stand within what?
The evil day.
Because there's going to be an evil day that's going to come beyond this. Because the evil day is going to take down the evil doers. Go ahead.
And having done all to stand.
And having done all to stand. Brothers and sisters, I just walked down this lesson called The Days Are Evil because you have the days of Noah, the days of Babylon, the days of Sodom, the days of Egypt, the days of Cain, and the days of Rome. But fortunately, he gave us Elijah in his day, which we have recorded in a book for us to operate in that same spirit. And I hope that you use that spirit, the sword of the spirit, and have done all to stand against what? The real evil day. Yes. Thank you for your time.
All right.